Hello and very warm welcome to my YouTube channel, Dr. Zia Ahmed. Today we are recording the section 6, its introduction, important elements and critical analysis of Whitman's poem Leaves of the Grass, and the title of the poem is going to be Song of Myself. Section 6 is really very important and fascinating because it goes to talk about the way the question is put and then the answers come. Different types of answers come, not in the simple way, but in a very discussion and very beautiful way. The poet tries to give different type of answers to the question. And while doing so, he propagates his philosophy. He tries to come up with the idea which is in his mind and what he wants the reader to understand. All these things he does while he answers the question of a child. Let's have a start with section 6 of Song of Myself by Whitman. A child said, "What is the grass?" fetching it to me with full hands. How could I answer the child? I do not know what it is any more than he. Now these two lines pose two questions. The child asks the question, "What is this?" And the poet says that how he could answer this question. So what is this? Is the curiosity of the child, and this curiosity is the reader's curiosity as well. Why poet is writing such a poem? And the poet says how he could answer. It means that he's trying to show his inability. He's trying to say that he cannot answer this question directly. So that is why he needs to think about, he needs to discuss within himself and then come out with the answer. So that is why the poet says, how could I do that? And he says that in this matter, he was just equal to the child. It means that the poet is assuming for himself the status of an innocent person who has little knowledge of the universe, of the grass, of the earth, and he's child in this manner, and that is why we can expect anything from him. The assumption of the child, the information equal to the information of the child, goes to prove that poet wants to dig deep into the meaning of this very question. What is this? So, what is the grass? The question is, and let us see what different answers can be there. This not only answer comes from the poet, but also it invites our attention to think about what possible answers can be. So that is why the word guess has been used again and again by the poet. He says, or I guess it's the handkerchief of lard. No, I guess it must be the flag of my disposition, out of hopeful green stuff woven. The very first guess, the poet says that it is the thing which shows what he is going to be, what is his style, what is his life, what is his mind, what is his mood, and what is his power. All these things are shown by this grass, and that is why he says perhaps it is the indication what he is going to be. He tells us the color of the grass also, and the stuff of the grass as well. It's very good, and the color is going to be green, and according to him it is the thing, richness of the thing, and the colorfulness of the thing which the poet himself is going to be, imagination of the poet going to be. The first guess of the poet is that it is his disposition, it is his mood, it is his style of poetry, it is his imagination. And then, or I guess it's a handkerchief of the Lord, a scented gift and remembrancer, designedly dropped, bearing the owner's name somewhere in the corners that we may see and remark and say, whose? So the second guess is that the grass is like a handkerchief. The handkerchief, with the handkerchief, we can remind ourselves the thing which happened in the drama Othello by Shakespeare, that a handkerchief became the cause of so many troubles. And here the handkerchief of a lover is going to be suggested, that a woman, a beloved of certain man, dropped her handkerchief, and on the edge of the handkerchief there was a name also, and in that way it could be searched and seen that whose handkerchief it can be. Possibly it has been purposely done so, but the poet says that the grass can be like that. So grass is going to be grown and thrown on the earth's surface in order to remind that it's in search of some lover. If the lover can be found, it can become one. So the matter of love has also been, romance has also been guessed by the poet, that it's a kind of handkerchief thrown out for the intended person that it's go there. And this makes the poem even more beautiful because the element of romance enters into the very thing. Then the poet says, or I guess the grass is itself a child, the produced babe of the vegetation, or I guess it's a uniform hieroglyphic, and it means sprouting like in broad zones and narrow zones, growing among black foxes among white. Kanuk, Takaho, congressman, Kaf, I give them the same, I receive them the same. So the second and third and fourth guesses are in these lines. For example, the poet says that grass is definitely the baby of the vegetation. So vegetation is going to be the mom, vegetation is going to be the nature who has given birth to its baby, and that's the little grass. That's going to be the third guess. The fourth guess of the poet is about that perhaps the language of the human being has been turned into certain symbols, and this language is being termed by him into hieroglyphic by saying that it's a uniform hieroglyphic. The symbols of the language are there, as the symbols of language can be found in Chinese or in Egyptian language. Hieroglyphs are there. For example, the poet says that these are everywhere. This grass, this symbol is everywhere, in the broad zones, richer areas, in the poor areas, everywhere it is grown there. And then it's also grown among the black folks, also in the white folks, everywhere it's growing. He names some of the cities, some of the states of USA, like Canuck, Tuckahoe, and Congressman Cuff, etc. He says that possibly these are the places where grass is growing. So universality of the growth of grass has been talked about again and again by the poet, that it's everywhere. By giving different symbols and different things, he says that grass is all around present. So the spread of the grass is on the wider or the widest type of canvas can be said it is there. So this is such a richness, such a colorfulness, such a type of innocence is there, and that according to the poet is spread everywhere. The next poet continues to say, and now it seems to me the beautiful uncut hair of the graves, and tenderly will I use you, curling grass. It may be you transpired from the breast of young men. It may be if I had known them, I would have loved them. It may be you are from old people or from the offsprings taken soon out of their mother's laps, and here you are the mother's laps. So the poet takes a new turn. He says possibly this grass is supporting because of the dead bodies which are burned, which are buried inside the graves, and they are the part of the earth. They have become the part of the earth, and now their life is going to be transformed into this beautiful grass, and that is why the grass is growing here and there. So in this way, he says this can be because of the body of some old person, or because of the body of some young person, or because of the body of some woman, or because of the body of some man. He says that he might be knowing these people, he would embrace them, and that is why they are being converted into grass, and that grass is the proof of the life inside them, and that life is sprouting outside. He says, continues to say the same mode. He says, darker than the colorless beards of old men, and dark to come from under the faint red roofs of mouths, or perceive after all so many uttering tongues, and perceive they do not come from the roofs of the mouths for nothing. Where it says that possibly it is coming out from the mouths, of the red mouths of the people, less red mouths of the people. The physical bodies being involved with the abstract being in the change of life in the same way as in the first and second part. He said that from his tongue everything is sprouting, from his lungs everything is sprouting, and here he uses the roof of the mouth, he uses, from there the grass is coming up. So body and this grass are the two bodies converging themselves into one another, and the life is going on, not in the sense that life is ended, it is transforming itself. The bodies are sprouting in the shape of the grass. So he continues with that and says, and this hints about old men and mothers and the old offspring taken soon out of their laps. What do you think has become of the young and the old men? And what do you think has become of the women and the children? They are alive and well somewhere. Smallest approach shows there is really no death, and ever there was it led forward life and does not wait at the and to arrest it and seize the moment if life appeared. All goes onward and outward, nothing collapses, and to die is different from what anyone supposed and luckier. In this section also the poet poses two questions by saying, what do you think about the men and women who die? Where do they go? Do they end? He puts this question, and himself answers the question, no, probably they just change the shape of life, the phase of life, and they convert themselves into different types of life. He says, therefore, death is a moment, that moment when it is decided that what next possibility of the opening of the door can be, whether somebody will turn into grass, somebody will turn into a tree, somebody will turn into a flower, or somebody will turn into any other shape of life. So death does not mean that men and women finish and they never come back. No, they come back, but they come in a different shape. So death does not mean that we are the people who will collapse 100%, will not be there, but it's a kind of phase, it's a kind of door that we go through, and one phase of our life finishes and other phase of our life begins. And that is why the last answer about this grass is that it is the life, it is the thing which is coming out of the life of the people who have, according to us, died, but actually they have not died. They are in their graves, and their bodies are converting into something different. So in that way, the soul which is born, that will never die, and that soul can assume different shapes of life. First, it possibly can be in the shape of mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, daughters, human beings, and ultimately when the grass is growing over the graves, it means that these bodies are sprouting. Actually, they are coming out, but not in the shape of the human body, in the shape of the grass. So grass is going to be the next phase of life of these people. So that is the poem, the section 6 of the Song of Myself the poet has given to us. So the answer is put by the boy, imaginary boy, and the poet goes to answer all these things. And this is the beautiful way through which he suggests 6 ways through which one can imagine what is the grass type of thing going to be. It can be a baby, it can be some expression of life, it can be expression of poet himself, it can be the reflection of the thoughts and ideas of the people, it can be the turning phase of the life of the people. So different ways can be assigned to that. So one can imagine and see and feel very much happier and excited to know that there are how many ways of knowing of grass according to the poet. Now this is the poet who possibly wants to tell what America is going to be, what land of America is going to be, what grass of America is going to be. So if he loves this grass with that much intensity, that he has got different phases, different names, different places about that, how much he would be in love with that. And actually it's not just the American land, it is the universal land, because of the process which is happening there inside US land and earth, and the growing of the grass is happening everywhere. So it's a kind of human love scattered all around the world, and it's a kind of satisfaction to the people also, that with your death you won't die, you will convert it to something beautiful, and the people will see it and they will imagine these things about that, what it's going to be because of its beauty, because of its color, because of its richness. So folks, this was the part 6 of the poem of Whitman, Walt Whitman, the very great part. I have tried to explain it as much as possible. Somebody else may be doing it more. So far, it is to say goodbye from you. Hope to see you in some next video. So keep peaceful, keep happy, keep safe from Corona thing as well. Hope to see you in some next video. Thank you.